Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a fantasy adventure film, Solomon Kane. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins in the year 1600 in the African continent. A man narrates that there was once a time in our history when forces of evil almost claimed the land. At that moment, an English privateer named Solomon storms a castle that Ottoman invaders hold. He is a famed mercenary known for his bloody exploits in faraway lands. He and his crew easily defeat the Ottomans, and Solomon confidently steps inside the castle. But he only has his eyes on the magnificent throne room that is rumored to be inside. Solomon tortures an Ottoman soldier who is still alive, and the man reluctantly gives up the location of the throne room. After getting the information he needs, Solomon ruthlessly slays the soldier. Following the soldier's instructions, Solomon leads his crew to the throne room. They enter a long and cavernous hall filled with mirrors. Some of his men voice their disapproval because they are scared that the stories of demons being held inside the castle are true. But Solomon does not believe in these myths, so he threatens his men so they can continue. Solomon crosses the hall and enters the chamber inside the throne room. The doors unexpectedly close behind him, separating him from his crew. From behind the locked door, Solomon can hear the screams of his men as they are killed one by hidden demons. Turning around, Solomon notices the pile of treasure on the floor. Obviously, this is the reason why he was so hell-bent on getting to the throne room. Beside the pile of gold coins are the bones of the former king of the castle. Suddenly, a dark creature appears. He introduces himself as the Devil's Reaper. He tells Solomon that he will claim his soul now because Solomon has led a life of sin and greed. But Solomon refuses to give up his soul. He argues that the Lord will protect him, but the Reaper laughs and replies that the Lord has already abandoned him. As a last resort, Solomon dives out of the window and down a cliff to escape. As he falls to the sea, the Reaper growls and warns him that he will never escape them, for Solomon's soul is his. A year later, it's revealed that Solomon is now a changed man. He had donated his wealth and left his life as a privateer to stay inside a monastery. He had strengthened his faith in order for his soul not to be claimed by the Reaper. But the abbot informs Solomon that staying in seclusion inside the monastery is not his destiny. So he expels him from the monastery. Solomon is astounded because he thought he was doing so well as a man of faith. He begs the abbot not to drive him away because he has nowhere else to go. But the abbot is firm in his decision and urges him to go home. Later on, the abbot tells a monk that he had a prophetic dream about Solomon. He realized that Solomon's path to redemption will lead him on a new adventure, which is why Solomon had to be sent away from the monastery. Solomon leaves the monastery as ordered and begins his lonely trek across the land. While walking, he encounters a grieving family burning the corpse of a young child who was killed by the plague. He goes through a forest and is beset by a group of brigands. They intend to rob Solomon, but discover that he has nothing of value. They see his scrolls that are filled with strange markings and conclude that he is a masked rider. Solomon can easily overpower the men, but has taken the path of peace, so he restrains himself. He gets knocked out by one of the thieves. While unconscious, Solomon is taken back to one of his childhood memories. He had been the second son of a wealthy nobleman, but his father was cruel. He had ordered Solomon to dedicate his life to the church by being a priest, but Solomon disobeyed. Because of this, he was disinherited by his father. He left his house that day and embarked on his life of being a pirate. Solomon wakes up and learns that a kind family of Puritans found his unconscious body. He is now riding with them in their wagon. Aside from the parents, there are two ugly brothers and one pretty sister named Meredith, who grows particularly close to Solomon. The family takes care of Solomon and takes him with them as they journey to new lands. Slowly, Solomon reveals bits and pieces of himself. He confesses to the father that he was a bad man before, but the father does not care about his past. Another flashback revealed that on the day that he was disinherited, Solomon found his brother, the heir who is their father's favorite, assaulting a young girl. He bravely stood up to the heir, but since the heir is older and bigger, the heir easily overpowered Solomon. He cut Solomon's face and declared that he is nothing. Solomon fought back, and he accidentally pushed the heir down the cliff. He assumed that the heir was dead, so he ran away in fear of his father's wrath. One day, they arrive at a deserted village. They find a pyre, and they surmise that a witch was burned there. Meredith wanders around and finds the lone survivor, a young girl. They take in the girl and comfort her. She tells them that the witch broke free from her restraints and killed everyone in the village who partook in her burning. The mother suggests that they all pray, but the girl does not want to. This makes Solomon suspicious. He asks the younger brother to give his wooden cross necklace to the girl. The girl cowers away from the cross. She grabs Meredith's hand and makes a black mark on her palm. The young girl's eyes turn black, and she emits a terrifying shriek. It's revealed that she was the witch in disguise. Solomon fights the witch, and she screams that the devil is waiting for Solomon before disappearing into a flock of ravens. Meanwhile, the brigands who attacked Solomon before are intrigued by a mysterious and powerful masked rider. They want to join the masked rider's followers, but first, they are transformed by him. Their eyes turn black, and they seem to be stronger and eviler. Meredith is concerned about the mark the witch left on her palm. She conveys her worries to Solomon, saying that maybe she is now turned evil. But Solomon assures her that she's everything good and kind in this world. The masked rider and his followers find Solomon and the family in the woods. They hold the younger brother hostage, and Solomon pleads with the follower not to kill the child. The follower goads Solomon into attacking him, but Solomon does not want to resort to violence. But the masked rider orders the follower, and he slits the child's throat. Solomon forsakes his path of peace and exacts revenge on the follower. However, the other followers kidnap the pretty Meredith and ride away on the Ferrari horseback. They also kill the father and the older brother. Solomon attempts to run after the men on horseback, but he is quickly left behind. He returns to where the mother is cradling the dying father in her arms. Before he dies, the father makes Solomon promise that he will get Meredith back. He tells Solomon that if he saves Meredith, his soul will be redeemed. He then gives Solomon a locket containing Meredith's hot picture. Solomon rides from village to village, which has been terrorized by the masked rider. He's able to help a lot of people, but he doesn't find Meredith. He goes to an abandoned church and prays to God for guidance and strength. Solomon discovers that the priest of the church is still alive. The priest tells him that the masked rider and his followers have been flocking from village to kidnap slaves and convert men into more followers. The priest then reveals that he has been keeping the village people inside the church cellar, who have been turned into flesh-eating ghouls. He plans on feeding Solomon to them. The priest throws Solomon inside the cellar, but he manages to escape. However, the ghouls are also set free, and they run their ghouly ass off. When Solomon gets out of the church, he comes face to face with the group of brigands who were converted by the masked rider. They had already killed and decapitated the priest. Solomon takes them on and kills 2 of them. He then leaves one alive so he can interrogate him. He shows the brigand the locket with Meredith's sexy picture, and the brigand says that she's really hot, but she's already dead as shit. Solomon then finishes him off due to his mean comments. Now believing that he has lost his chance at redemption, Solomon loses his faith and drinks at a local village tavern. 2 men recognize him as the famous privateer, and they try to recruit him to join their efforts to defeat the masked rider. But Solomon is too lost in his grief and just makes the 2 men go away. Afterward, the masked rider and his followers arrive at the same village. They crucify the men who are rumored to be rebels, including Solomon. Solomon almost accepts his fate, but a cage rolls by, containing the kidnapped slaves, and Meredith sees Solomon on the cross. She screams at him to wake up, and he sees her, still sexy while kept captive. As a result, Solomon gets the hormone motivation to live and fight again, so he extricates himself from the cross and fights the followers. He is rescued by the rebel group. They take Solomon to a hidden cave soon, and he is healed by a pagan woman. He regains his strength and plans with the rebels on how they will defeat the masked rider. The rebels tell Solomon that the masked rider is only the lieutenant of the army of the powerful sorcerer who aims to control the land. It's said that this sorcerer used to be a healer, but he made a deal with the devil so he could have powers. They also add that the sorcerer lives in a nearby castle. Solomon is astounded because that castle was his family's castle, and he grew up there. He had no idea what had happened to his family. Then Solomon realizes that he knows the secret passageways that lead inside the castle. So he takes his small group of rebels, and they sneak inside the castle courtyard. Solomon is shocked to see that the once grand castle is now run down and filled with strange symbols and witchcraft paraphernalia. On the balcony is the witch that Solomon fought before. Solomon throws an axe, and it hits her in the chest. The followers get wind that there are intruders in the castle. They fight Solomon and the rebels. The masked rider appears, and he takes on Solomon. Solomon retreats inside the passageways of the castle. He ends up finding the dungeon. However, the pretty Meredith is not there. Instead, he finds his father, now a thin old man, chained to a cell. The father tells Solomon that he has missed him. It's then revealed that the heir, Solomon's older brother, had survived his fall down the cliff. The father did everything he could, but no doctor could heal him, so he resorted to the sorcerer, who healed his son. However, the heir's face is now deformed, and he is under the spell of the sorcerer. He's now actually the masked rider who's been terrorizing villages for long. Solomon tries to free his father from the chains, but it was spelled by the sorcerer to be unbreakable. Instead, his father asks for Solomon's guns. He's too guilty of too many sins, and he wants to end his shitty life as repentance. Out in the hallways, the rebel group is doing their best to fight the followers, but they are outnumbered. Solomon decides to confront the sorcerer himself, who is sitting on his father's throne. To his surprise, Meredith is kept captive in a cage in the corner of the room. He manages to unlock the cage before the masked rider comes up behind him, and he pierces him in the chest with his sword. Solomon tries to reason with the masked rider, for it's not humane to stand behind someone ready for a surprise attack, but the rider is still under the control of the sorcerer. He then sets the masked rider on fire and decapitates his head, ending his horse-riding life. After that, the sorcerer then reveals that there is a mirror portal behind him. He uses Meredith's innocent blood to open the portal and release the giant hell creature that was sent by the devil to claim Solomon's soul. The hell creature is released, and Solomon sacrifices his soul in order to save the pretty Meredith, his true love. But just before the hell creature catches him, Solomon aims his gun and shoots the sorcerer in the head. Because of that, both the sorcerer and the hell creature are sucked into the portal. Solomon is now lying unconscious on the floor. Meredith rushes to him and cries, believing that he is too dead for them to have a hormone reunion. But suddenly, Solomon opens his eyes, appearing to be unclaimed by hell. He tells Meredith that his soul was saved and redeemed because he saved Meredith. It turns out, the moment he chose to sacrifice himself, the devil lost his claim over his soul, which is why Solomon wasn't dragged to hell. Afterward, the surviving rebels flood into the throne room and inform Solomon that the rest of the followers have been defeated. Solomon returns Meredith to her mother. The movie ends with Solomon continuing his narration from the beginning of the film. He says that once, no one could stand against the forces of evil, but now that he's here, he will hunt all evil down. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.